Welcome to the Redefine Podcast.
Okay, happy podcast day. Happy podcast day to you. Welcome to the show if you're brand new. And of course, if you are an existing listener and or viewer, welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so today is episode 366. It's a celebration. It's a pretty big milestone, I think. Well, okay, so not 366 necessarily. Really, 365 is the thing that I wanted to commemorate, which was last week, but I completely overlooked that fact. Now, you might be asking, well, what's the big deal with 365? It's just as random as 366. Well, 365 would have been our 1 year anniversary here at the Redefine Podcast. Had I continued with the one episode a day for 365 days. That was the original goal. Okay, so going back to the beginning of the show, we first started out as Path of the Network Marketer, and my original goal was to do one episode a day for 100 days. I hit that mark. It was awesome. We celebrated. I did a retrospective of all the things that I learned. And then I set a new goal. It was already habit. So why don't I do 200? Hit 200, celebrated, did a retrospective, hit 250, rebranded to Redefine Podcast. It was great. I got around 250, 260. Well, no, 260, 270, and circumstances, right? Life happened, and I made the decision to step back away from the show, put it on pause, and I didn't pick it back up for another 5-6 months. So it was around October, November of 2023 when I picked the show back up, and I was at that time only doing 2 episodes a week. Now I'm only doing 1 episode a week as of the new year here in 2025, and so that's the reason I only just last week hit the 365 mark, as opposed to hitting it at the 1 year anniversary of this show. Now, to commemorate that, I still want to celebrate, even though I missed that mark. 365 is a huge deal. Like very few podcasts hit this number of episodes. Very few podcasts hit, more than 2 years of being on air, so to speak. And we're just about 2.5 years. So I want to celebrate that. I think it's important to do so. And in commemorating that, hitting that milestone, I actually want to revisit the topic from last week, which was 365, the episode 365. I want to revisit that topic because I think we can expand on it, but also I think I can be a little bit more clear with the principles and the ideas that we shared and that we discussed last week. If you haven't listened to that episode, go ahead and go back and listen to it, and this will make a little bit more sense. I touched on perspective and the perspective that we gain from having time pass, right? The passage of time gives us distance and therefore gives us perspective. That's why we get the saying, hindsight is 2020. We have a broader perspective. We have clearer vision when we look back, right? When we have the distance of time, and so it's a neat little kind of it just kind of aligns the fact that 365 was last week, and now I can look back on some of those lessons because I have more perspective now that we're further removed from that 365 mile marker. No, I didn't hit it. So that's the first thing. I didn't hit that mark. I fell short again because of circumstances. I made the decision to stop doing 1 episode a day. And yes, it would have been nice. I would have liked to hit that. I think it was a pretty cool experiment, and I was learning a lot. I was learning a lot very quickly. And if I had hit that mark of doing an episode every day for 365 days, I think I would have gotten a lot of great feedback and information, and it would be a whole different set of data points, right? Like an episode a day, it just gives you a lot of information to work with and to plan moving forward. That said, even though I missed that mark, it doesn't really change a whole lot in the fact that I'm in this thing for the long term. Now, whether I hit it or not, I would have still kept going with the show. I probably would have cut down, but here I am, you know what I mean? Like we're, again, about 2.5 years into the show minus the hiatus, and, doing things and continuing on in a manner that very few podcasts make, right? Hitting milestones that and markers that very few podcasts hit. Few podcasts make it past 10 episodes, let alone 365. Few podcasts make it a year, let alone 2.5. So, regardless of missing that mark, again, it would have been nice. I still am going, and I continue to then reflect back and adjust and see what I've learned, right? I think it's an important practice for every aspect of life. I mean, especially if you're talking about marketing and business, you're like with podcasts or content creation as your marketing arm or as your branding arm. You got to continually learn. You got to continually adapt and evolve and adjust. And really, the only way to do that is by reflecting back, right? By taking stock. That's what we say in high performance. You gotta take stock every quarter of your performance and look at the data sets so that you can identify areas where you can improve. You can't do that in the moment because you have a narrower perspective in the moment, in the right now. So you have to do it when you're further removed. Again, time gives you distance, and that distance gives you a broader perspective. It gives you clearer vision. So do that with everything that you're doing, whether it's health, because you always gotta adjust with your health, right? As you get older, you got to adjust. So reflect back on what you're doing and see where you can improve and see what you can tweak so that you can better perform moving forward. And as well as again, business, marketing, content creation, affiliate market, all that stuff. Every quarter, reflect back, take stock, and see where you can improve. See what tweaks you can make moving forward. Mindsets, always look back and reflect. I mean, I'm in pretty much constant self-reflection, right? Develop that high awareness of yourself and your mental and emotional states, and reflect back. How has the last week been? How has the last month been? How's the last quarter been? What can I do? What practices can I be better on? Or what practices are really working for me? Things like that. It's really, really important to reflect back and understand that if you're feeling any sort of way in the moment, just trust that a few months from now, or even a few weeks from now, you'll be far enough removed from whatever stress or in the moment thing you're going through, that you can reflect back and really see the lessons there. I think the opportunity that gets missed is the fact that people don't do this practice, right? That people don't actually use that hindsight, which is 2020, and they miss out on the potential lessons, and they miss out on the potential growth that can happen in all aspects of life. As I said, I mean, it can apply to health, it can apply to relationships, it can apply to your business, your marketing, your content creation, your content strategy. It can apply to your relationships, right? Everything, finances, everything. You can really apply this principle, but you have to understand that it's there for you to use, and I think people do miss out on that opportunity because they don't take it. They don't take the time to sit and reflect back on what happened last week or what happened even today. I know a lot of high performers who at the end of every night will reflect back on their day and see what they can adjust, and so that they make their plan and they set their vision for the next day. It's a really, really cool thing to be able to do, but again, you have to have that awareness. You have to know that that's there for you. Otherwise, it's just going to be autopilot, right? You wake up, you go to work, you go home, have dinner, sit in front of the TV, and you do it all over again. If there's no reflection, if there's no looking back, all right, then it's hard for there to be any growth, right? Because without that hindsight, you're just going to be in kind of this reactive mode and a reactive and or just this autopilot mode. So really, really make sure you take advantage of that, right? We all have that. I mean, of course, unless you end up passing away tomorrow. If tomorrow is your last day, then obviously you have nothing to reflect back on because you can't reflect back, right? And we don't know when our time is, but as long as we have this time, might as well use it productively. Yes, be in the moment, live in the moment, and we'll talk about that next week, having that trust and surrendering to the moment, but also, once that moment has passed, reflect back and see if there's anything that you can learn from, in that hindsight, with that hindsight 2020. Because again, time gives you that distance so that your vision and your perspective is clearer. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, for me, in reflecting back, that I should have hit 365 a long time ago in September of 2023. It gives me pause and gives me ideas and like what can I change, what can I fix, and now I have a clear vision of what I want to do moving forward. Right. And so that also kind of informs my in the moment right now, what I'm doing. So I have a clearer path to progression, as opposed to, again, just being reactive or being on autopilot, right? Again, use time. Time gives you perspective. The distance that time gives you perspective, so that you have 2020 in hindsight, right? Clearer vision, and more perspective. Okay, so I'm beating that dead horse. A few things before I go. As far as like housekeeping and admin stuff. So as I mentioned last week, Ronnie's Health Corner is now up and running. So if you want to learn more about your health, or want to learn more about some of the things that I'm doing to keep my health at an tongue twister, at an optimal level, to keep a high level of health, basically, especially as I age. Learn all the things that I'm doing to be as healthy as I can. It's Ronnie's Health Corner on our YouTube channel. So it's only going to be on the YouTube. So go find us, youtube.com/@ Redefine Podcast. I'll leave it in the links of the show note. I'll leave the link in the show notes of this episode, but it's really fun. Not much there yet because it just started. I just created that playlist last night. And so there's only 2 videos there. So, check that out. I'm going to be releasing videos and tips and all that stuff, education. Once a week is my goal, but we'll see. But on a regular basis, regular enough that you'll have a lot of content there that will really help you, take your health to another level, right? If you're wanting to improve your health, that's a great place to go. Again, it's going to be on our YouTube, exclusive to our YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/@ Redefine Podcast. The other thing is I want to plug my other show, Path of the Network, not Path of the Network Marketer. That was originally this show, Path of the Jedi. Path of the Jedi is up again. We are going strong. I had taken a long break from that show, but it's up and running. So if you want to check that out, it's Star Wars meets personal development. That's strictly what that show is all about. It's just more content from me, more principles on growth, mindset, personal development, all wrapped in the context of Star Wars. So right now, we're doing an episode by episode discussion and analysis of Ahsoka. We're 3 episodes in. This week will be episode 4 for Ahsoka. So check that out. Wherever podcasts are possible. That's also going to a YouTube version of it is on my other channel, and I don't have the name of that channel off the top of my head. It's a complete brain fart. But I'll leave the link of that show, Path of the Jedi, in the show notes of today's episode as well. So those 2 things. Ronnie's Health Corner, if you're looking for health tips, if you're looking to improve your health, find that on the Redefine YouTube channel, and then Path of the Jedi wherever podcasts are available. I should have just said that in the first place. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Next week we'll continue the discussion of revisiting the topics from episode 365. We're going to talk about trust and surrender, right? Trust and surrender. So it's going to be a good one. So make sure you tune in. If you're not already subscribed to the show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, or hit that plus button here on the podcast version. And one last thing, I forgot about this, but I'm really working to try to grow this show. So what I want to ask you is, think of one person who you think might enjoy and appreciate the content, might appreciate this episode, or might appreciate the show, and please share it with them. My goal is to get these ideas, these principles out to as many people as possible, and I really want to grow the show at a big level this year. So I can only do that with your help. Again, think of just one person. If everybody just thought of one person who, again, you think would appreciate and enjoy this content, please share it with them. It would go a long way to helping us grow the show here. All right, so that's going to be it. We'll catch you next week with a fresh new one. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.